What's going on, guys? It's Expo Jesse. Today I'm going to be bringing a new video, something I haven't done on the channel before. We're actually going to be covering my losses. So it's going to be a trade recap today. For my trading plan, if I lose 3 trades in a row, it doesn't matter if it's all on futures, if it's one futures, one forex, one options. If I lose 3 in a row, I'm done trading for that day. I haven't had that happen in several months, but happened today. And so we're going to do a completely raw recap. I have not looked over these trades yet. It is part of my, routine if I do have a loss streak to do some trade recaps. I even do it with my good trades as well. But I personally tend to learn more from my losers. The main reason for that is because my losers tend to be from lack of discipline. Today wasn't necessarily the case. Today was just getting caught in outside bars multiple times. So we're going to start up today. First trade, let me zoom forward a little bit. We'll do kind of my market recap or morning outlook here. So this is my toolkit. It'll be public eventually. It's going to be free. It just essentially has the strat stuff, auto fibs, which is what I use, fair value stuff. It's all free, all open source stuff that I had compiled into one indicator. And so when I looked at the markets today, if I make my auto fibs a little less sensitive, this is what I was seeing, right? So I saw overall market trend is very, very bearish still. Obviously, no surprise there. What I did see was we shoved right through the golden zone. So if I was going to play bullish here, right, I would have wanted to see some sort of setup here at this, either the order block or the imbalance over here, and stop loss below whatever as soon as it starts to curl. So I'd want to see something like this, and then setup happening here, and then curl, and then my stop loss is below that setup, right? Obviously, that didn't happen. We shoved right through that golden zone, which tells me that we're not really going to be playing long side for for a lot of the day today, if I had to have a hunch. So fast forward a little bit. My first trade was 955. It was SPX. Sorry, it was 957. SPX at it was a 35.25 puts. So we were breaking through 3600. 3600 historically has been a pretty big psych level. If we hit 3600, we're going to be targeting 3550, 3500 as psych levels. You could do every 25 points as well, but for me, I know that historically speaking, if you look at level 2 data, there's going to be big block orders at every 50 points. So I entered in those 35.25s at 957. So right about here on this candle. 212 down. Strat is all pointing down, right? We already invalidated this golden zone to say that we're probably not going to be retracing. We're probably going for the breakout. So a couple of things that I could have done a little differently. When I'm looking here, I see this order block, right, which is already plotted. There's a little order block here. That's what the green rectangles are. The gray rectangles are fair value gaps. If they've been mitigated, they don't show anymore. And then the blue ones are break of structure fair value gaps, so part of smart money concepts. So what I could have done differently is wait for a breakout retest, right? So something like this, where this is the 212. This is undoubtedly where I entered, or the reason for my entry. And then we came down. I would have liked to have a retest and then start to curl back down, and I would have bought at that level. Obviously, it didn't happen, so and it's not necessarily wrong of me to enter before a breakout. I just have to be careful of watching that, right? I held through. Let me look at the Discord alerts. We got the futures. Futures were way later, 1050. So, or no, that was yesterday, sorry. Futures, actually same entry, so 951. 20 30 35 91 25. I'm dyslexic. So 39, yeah, so exactly this, right? Exactly that 7-point stop. So inside of this inside bar, and we ended up taking 150%. Well, I ended up taking 150%. The alert was set for 150%. Quick 10 points, nothing wrong there at all. At that point, generally after 100%, I'm at least half positioned on futures, that is. So I was pretty light. Then stop loss break even was in place. Usually I set that after 50%, but in this case it was placed after 100%, just because I didn't want to get faked out. Honestly, like I said, if we were going to break this level, we're targeting way low, right? So high risk, high reward. Didn't pan out for me today. So that was a win for futures. That was the 150% winner today. Now, I'm not sure what the contract did here. I think I saw 10-15%. But for SPX, I don't like to take anything less than 15-20%. Because I know, first of all, I know that I'd be willing to go into drawdown more than 20% on a 0 day. And so to have a good risk reward, I got to be able to hold longer. So that's what I did. It ended up biting me today. Let me just set this up here. My next triggers were at 10:58. So, oops. 10:50, so right there. So that'll tell me when I entered the futures. So, like I said, this is just a liquidity grab, or you know, a lot of people call it different things. ICT mentorship people will call it a liquidity grab, or buy or sell side liquidity. For me, this is just a liquidity grab. It's just grabbing. There's not enough buyers down here, or sorry, there's not enough sellers to push price further. A lot of buyers are buying at a discount here. So you have a 2-on-2. This is where I should have cut, no doubt in my mind. I should have just cut and let it go. I'm not sure what the percentage was at this point, but I was also willing to let it come up here to this golden zone, right? Because a couple things. We have a fair value gap that got mitigated, might get respected in the future. But if I am going to average down, which I did in this play today, it's going to be up at that area. So I averaged down at SPX. My first average was at 1020. So right in this area, probably this 2-1-2, or sorry, the 2-2. Now this is where I got caught up the first time, the first 3 bar. So it was a failed 2 down that turned 3. This was the same thing, failed 2 down that turned 3. Now again, this is another trigger to exit, right? So this is going to be another supply and demand area where there's not enough, well, it would technically be down here, but there's not enough sellers to push price further. They're getting caught up. There's for every seller, there's at least 1 buyer, and then eventually the sellers ran out and the buyers pushed price up. So could have cut for a smaller loss. Those actually ended up going to break even, but I didn't take a trim. I remember that. Last dollar cost average was at 1042. So we'll go forward a little bit. Right at this golden zone. So once we wicked in and came out a little bit, this is where I entered. I truthfully, other than this little shady area down here where I could have cut for just a tiny loss, I personally am okay holding this drawdown with the hopes of it going further down, just getting a small retrace, because remember a 38.2 is all that's necessary for a strong trend retrace. So that was close enough for me to say, okay, I'm willing to hold still. And if I was seeing 20-30%, no big deal. Now up here, I was seeing way bigger numbers. And so this was more of a last-ditch effort. My stop loss was going to be somewhere between this area, between the 786 and the start of the fib. And we actually got a 2 down, a failed 2 up, 3 down. And this is where I loaded up ES short and NQ short. Both were triggering the same thing. Um, I, I felt really confident. We had the day and the week with us. The hour was obviously green because we were still retracing, but um, this is telling me that price pushed up. There were not enough buyers for price to continue pushing up, so now we need to go find more buyers. We're going to go for a retrace. And we're retracing at the golden zone, so my target's going to be 0. In this case, I'm sitting at a 2.08 risk reward. That's a perfect setup for me. It's a perfect trade. It's something I would take 10 out of 10 times. And truthfully, that is all that I want to hear myself say when I do these recaps, is that I would take this trade again and again and again. If my trade is systematic, if it followed my system, I know that my system is not an 100% win rate system. If you guys have an 100% win rate system, I will pay you a pretty penny for it, but it doesn't exist. So I am going to stick to my system that I know is profitable for me long term. In this case, we had back-to-back 3 bars. Statistically speaking, this is incredibly rare. Incredibly rare. Once we had this 2 down, I was expecting us to come back to this golden zone, touch this liquidity that we had a little bit up here, and just shove back down. In this one candle, I saw price go from 0.60 to 0.25 on SPX, and that's where I cut. It was percentage-wise 70%, but it was $2 cost averages, so I was a little heavier on that position, and it was a bigger loss than typical. So the big takeaway here is that you do lose, right? And the biggest piece for losing and coming back the next day is to make sure that you were following your system to a T. If you don't have a systematic system, if your system is very, biased or opinionated, if you're drawing all sorts of squares and rectangles and triangles and, cups and whatever, if you're drawing dinosaurs on your chart, that whole stuff is all subjective. That's going to change tomorrow, right? So following a system is what changed my trading, obviously, and keeps me intact psychologically. A lot of people question how you're able to get over loss. I took a lot of loss today, more than I've had in the last couple of weeks, no doubt, maybe even combined. And the main reason that I can come back tomorrow, barring any news, is because I have a systematic system. My system doesn't, like I said multiple times already, my system's not a 100% win rate system, but I know that statistically it is profitable. I know that statistically I am profitable, and because of that, I'm able to come back tomorrow with a new, fresh mind. I took 3 losses today. I won 1, so it, kind of evens out in a way. At least I didn't lose 3 and was done for the day, but I did lose a lot of money. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. A little new video, just a regular trade recap on just a really trash day. But like I said, come back tomorrow. I'll be psychologically intact, ready to fight the good fight and make some money. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments and get back to you. Have a good one, guys. Peace.